There are many urban legends out there that have stood the test of time and become part of our collective consciousness. Vampires, werewolves, Bigfoot, vampires, you get the idea. The one thing that sets them apart from any other children begging for candy or trying to use a bathroom is their eyes, completely black pools devoid of any whites or irises whatsoever. Their request may seem innocent enough, but the motives of these mysterious children are anything but, with some encounters having deadly consequences for the poor souls who answered the door. But then there are other legends that are more niche, known only to those who frequent the darkest corners of the internet. One such legend are the black-eyed children. The black-eyed children are typically described as to children who appear at someone's doorstep late at night, usually in bad weather, and ask to be let inside. Creepypastas like He-Man Woman Haters Gone Now Hate posted in 2006 helped to cement the story of the black-eyed children in internet lore. These pastas usually follow a similar formula. Two kids, a knock on the door, a refusal to let them in, and a threat of violence. They never speak, and when you finally kick them out, they just stand there staring at you with their soulless orbs. And should you try to stop them, they will not only turn on you, but they will also grow unnaturally large, making you feel like a mouse in the presence of a predator. The stories are intentionally vague. We don't know where the children come from, why they're doing this, or how exactly they're going to kill you. But regardless of their origin, we know one thing: they are not human. And what makes them inhuman is their eyes. Depersonalizing someone is a tactic used by cults and abusive groups to break down their victims. The glowing eyes represent something otherworldly, something that's not quite human. It's called the pupil. When your pupils dilate, it can give your eyes a shiny appearance, especially if light is reflecting off the surface. But to the person experiencing this phenomenon for the first time, without any context or explanation, they'll likely see something much more sinister at play. After all, stories like this have existed since the beginning of human civilization. Our ancestors didn't have internet forums or Reddit threads. So they needed other ways to pass on knowledge and warn future generations. There are countless stories about black-eyed children showing up at random people's houses. They seem to target families with young children, but they don't discriminate based on religion or spiritual beliefs. Could they be figments of a hyperactive imagination or stress-induced psychosis? It's an easy way to make a monster appear more monstrous and taps into a primal fear of the supernatural. After all, it's hard to argue with a monster under your bed when you haven't slept in days. Some are frightening, some are sad, and some are downright bizarre. But one thing's for sure, none of them have been proven true. But some encounters with black-eyed children are so vivid that there has to be more to the story. If two kids show up to your house in the middle of the night and claim their eyes are black, you're probably better off just letting them in. But what if you were confronted with a person whose eyes showed nothing at all? What does it mean when someone has no iris or pupil? And if you want to support the channel, you can do so at our website. He was 10 years old when he saw two children with jet black eyes standing in front of his house. Ryan went inside and told his mother, who promptly locked the doors and told him to go back to his room. She looked at him like he was crazy, and Ryan assumed she didn't believe him. What he didn't realize was that his mother had passed away in her sleep sometime during the night, and the two children had been standing by her coffin. But Ryan couldn't sleep. He heard voices outside his window and got up to investigate. What does it say about their character? Nothing. That's what it says. No emotion, no remorse, no empathy. And no one has ever been able to explain where they came from. They are a product of imagination, folklore, and maybe a little bit of psychosis. Ryan screamed, but his mother just told him to go back to bed and ignore them. For the rest of the night, Ryan could hear the children walking up and down stairs, opening and closing cabinets, and whispering in strange tongues. He never saw their faces, but he could hear them breathing. This lack of specificity creates a sense of dread and uncertainty. The ambiguity means that each person can fill in the blanks with whatever their own imagination conjures up, which is often much scarier than anything the author could come up with. But there is a lot of variation depending on the teller. So when we see something that defies logic, we come up with our own explanations, whether it be Bigfoot, aliens, or black-eyed children. The story features two children with coal black eyes who come to a house in the middle of nowhere looking for water. In others, they say they've run away from home because of abusive parents. So you made up a story about an evil spirit that haunts your town and preys on sinners. This would serve as a warning to anyone who knew you, as well as future generations, telling them to stay on the straight and narrow path. The black-eyed children could be a similar warning. Perhaps messing with magic or summoning demons comes with risks you never anticipated. Maybe these children are the demons themselves, sent to collect on your debt. Some say they just want to use the phone or the bathroom, while others are a little more sinister, saying they've come to kill everyone inside. But no matter what their intentions may be, letting them in is always a terrible mistake. When they are refused, they run off into the darkness. This is pretty close to the modern interpretation of the legend, but it wasn't until almost 20 years later that the story would be adapted and popularized by paranormal author David J. Sherman. But why do these stories stick with us so well? Kids can be unpredictable, and we never know what they're thinking. Stranger danger is drilled into us at a young age, and it's natural to worry about our safety around unfamiliar children. It doesn't help that pop culture has conditioned us to be afraid of certain types of children. Think about all the creepy kid characters out there, from the children in Village of the Damned to Norman Bates, Mother Gothel, and even the Babadook. I'm the host. And today we're answering the extraordinary question, are black-eyed children real? Most modern sightings of black-eyed children date back to the mid-90s, when they began popping up on creepypasta websites and in online forums. A lot of people consider them to be a modern phenomenon, an urban legend born from the dark recesses of the internet. There are a few stories that predate this, though. It detailed a horrifying incident involving a woman who had been terrorized by black-eyed children for months. The story captivated readers and served as an inspiration for countless others that followed. It's largely thanks to Sherman's work that these mysterious children became known as black-eyed children instead of just weird kids with no eyes. In 1974, author Brian Lumley published a story called In a Dark House by a Road Most met in his collection The Transition People. In 1993, Sherman wrote an article about black-eyed children for Reader's Digest. So while there are older tales that share similarities with the black-eyed children legend, it wasn't until the internet age that the idea truly took off. In some versions, the children claim that their parents have gone out and locked them out of the house on purpose. If you allow them into your home, they will drain all of the batteries in every device, spill every container of liquid, and tear apart your furniture. It seems like the perfect cautionary tale for children. Don't talk to strangers, don't open the door, don't make eye contact. One reason could be our fear of children in general. But the black-eyed children specifically tap into another fear, our fear of the unknown. Some believe the children are demons or demonic possessions, while others see them as the spawn of alien overlords. The eyes are the windows to the soul, or at least that's what they say. They reveal our emotions, show our true selves. Children have always been depicted with glowing eyes in scary stories and movies. Long before the black-eyed children came along. Of course, there is a perfectly logical explanation for glowing eyes. As humans, we crave understanding. We try to make sense of everything. Now, aside from being a cautionary tale and an exercise in world building, some believe that the black-eyed children legend serves as a warning to those who dabble in the occult. If you did something really messed up, like murder someone, you didn't want word getting out. But if that's true, why do normal people encounter them too? Sleep deprivation plays a big role in a lot of horror stories. Take the case of a man named Ryan, who told his story to paranormal investigators Nick and Jessica. When he opened his bedroom door, he was met with the sight of two children standing in his hallway. In the morning after, of course, he hadn't slept a wink. He told his mother what had happened. Now, there are thousands of stories like this out there, each claiming to be true. There are no documented cases of black-eyed children. No one has ever captured photographic evidence, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be careful. Thanks for watching. Do you believe in black-eyed children? Let me know in the comments.